Hey guys, so today I want to tell you guys a story about trust. So back in 2013, when I first started my mediumship business full time, I wanted to quit my 9 to 5 job, and I had a pension, I had a 401k, the whole 9 yards. I had a job that many felt lucky to have because of security, right? But even though it was a secure job, I was very unhappy there. The people I worked with were great, and I made some friendships that will last me a lifetime. But working there made me feel like I was just wasting away. I was always practicing my mediumship, but most of my mediumship classes ended up being during my working hours, and it was really difficult to have time around more like-minded people. And so I self-taught myself for a really long time. And anyways, I finally built a decent size business where I felt like it was time for me to leave my secure job and really take that chance to start up my own business full time. And I figured, if I build it, they will come, just like the saying goes, only that's not really how it went for me in the beginning. My family was very much a two-income family, and I really jumped into this without a safety net for the first time, probably in my life, without someone to catch me if I hit the ground, right? I felt with every part of my heart that this was going to work for me. But shortly after I left my job, for the first few months, I was barely making any money. I had only a few readings a month. And even though this was happening, it was like financially, it made absolutely no sense on paper, but it was working out. And everything was very tight for us. We had a lot of sleepless nights, but we were getting by. And now, fast forward a few months later from then, the oil burner in my home pretty much exploded in my basement. So homeowners took care of the cleanup and most of the expenses and things like that. But out of pocket, I had to pay a lot of money for a new oil burner and some other odds and ends. And this is money that I didn't have. I needed close to two grand. And since my husband and I were pretty much living paycheck to paycheck, I had no choice but to use the money I had aside for my mortgage. We had no savings, we had nothing like that. My husband was like, Danielle, like, what are we going to do about the mortgage money? And I said, Joe, I said, I don't know, but it's going to come to us. I said, we just have to trust spirit. And so he said, okay. And he was a little hesitant, but he said, okay. And a week or two goes by, and we're about 13 days into our 15-day grace period to pay the mortgage. And my husband approaches me again. He says, so I feel like we've been patient, but he's like, you better talk to your people because we have 2 days to come up with 2 grand. So I laughed, but I called the mortgage company, and this was a phone call that I've been avoiding for weeks. Okay. They told me that my mortgage, and when I called them, though, I was grateful I did, because they were like, oh, they said, your mortgage is paid for this month. And I told them that I didn't pay it and that, this couldn't be right. So they checked their records, and it turns out that there was an overage in my escrow, and it paid for the full mortgage for that month. And it also paid a few $100s towards the following month too. So I got off the phone with them. I was blown away that I ever even doubted spirit. I fell to my knees, and I was just in such gratitude. And and I realized that made me realize that as long as you're doing the right thing, spirit's always going to catch you. They will always be your safety net. And even though it's not something that you can physically see, when you learn to trust spirit, you'll never have to worry about anything. And one thing that is really super important is that as we have experiences and learn important life lessons, is we have to trust. Having that trust will help us create the life that helps us reach our fullest potential. And along the way, we're going to face the unknown. We're going to experience things that throw us outside of our comfort zone, but that's where we grow. We get these experiences for a reason. But at these moments, we've reached crossroads that force us to make choices for ourselves that could totally put us in uncharted waters. And if we choose to learn from these experiences that this unknown territory can lead us towards, they can help us create the life of our dreams versus staying in our comfort zone that we've learned to just be stagnant in because we're too afraid to jump to that, that next level for ourselves. And this can feel like you're jumping without a net. Jumping is scary and it's inspiring all in the same breath. But like I said before, trusting spirit is knowing that The safety net is there, even though you can't physically see it. Sometimes we have to fail in order to get us redirected to where we should be. And failing means that you are trying. And one day when you look back from a place of reflection, you'll see that all those small things where you think you're running in place, all those small things are going to turn into the big things. And it's really important to always make the best of the experiences that come our way, because we're going to learn and grow from them, and it's only going to catapult us into the next phase of our lives and where we need to be. I will come back with more stories. I have so many like that. I love them. All right. Thanks for listening.